The new season is a new occasion for interesting meetings, incredible discoveries, and curious stories. My name is Konstantin Koksin. I'm an ethnographer, Turkologist, traveler, full member of the Russian Geographical Society, director of the Museum of Nomadic Culture in Moscow. My name is Timkai Kritova. I live in Kazakhstan.
Я много путешествую,
I study the history and culture of the Great Steppe.
История и культура Великой Степи.
The culture of nomads of the Great Steppe is my favorite topic, which I have been researching for many years, and I have something to tell about it. I think that we will hear many new and unexpected facts from you. Welcome to Kazakhstan.
Казахстан.
У всех кочевников издревле существовали...
Oral tradition of nomads. From ancient times, all nomads had wandering storytellers, sages, tellers of funny stories. These are Badarchins and Ulgurchi of Mongolia, Tisways in North Africa, Tibedia among the peoples of the far north, Akuns in Central Asia. Who are they? Wandering storytellers? The nomads did not have books.
Тюрки, Хунну, Монголы.
The Turks, Huns, and Mongols, who created huge nomadic powers from Khingan to the Mediterranean Sea, developed more than 10 writing systems, some of which have not yet been deciphered. That is, in the cities they wrote and translated, in the monasteries they wrote and translated. But the nomads who grazed cattle and roamed in the Great Steppe did not have books. It's hard to carry them with you.
Молодец. Их просто тяжело с собой.
Well done. They are simply hard to carry. Imagine one camel carries a yurt, the other all the chest contents, and about 50 camels more carry a library. The books were huge at those times. Nomads solved this problem differently. There appeared wandering storytellers, Akuns, Badarchins, Tisways. They had various names. People wandering in the tundra, deserts, and steppes were not just like walking books, but walking libraries.
Это были настоящие живые библиотеки.
Да.
It was no accident that in the Great Steppe they used to say, a wandering fool is better than a sage sitting still. He visited everywhere, talked with many. The education was not systematic, but from the heart. One Akun would come and teach to read, another to write, the third to count, the fourth would look at the stars with the children. In general, they taught as they could. In the evening, everyone gathered in the largest yurt or made a fire. The Akun would take his instrument, a dombra for example, bow to the instrument, saying that the dombra would tell stories, not him, and then he would begin a fairy tale or legend. There are wandering poets and storytellers in the Kazakh tradition, but these are Sals and Seris. While the Akuns in the Kazakh tradition belong to a specific family, and their main poetic task is to defend their kind of ites. The peak of Akin's practice is, of course, song improvisations. Although Akins tell fairy tales, they are the keepers of epics. First of all, he is the mentor of the next generations. Interestingly, the functions of the shaman and Akun are combined among the peoples of the far north and are divided among the peoples of the steppe. And, as I was told, in Yakutia, the shamanic talent is manifested in 3 forms. It is the gift of the shaman, the gift of the blacksmith Darhan, and the gift of the Akun storyteller.
Наши ученые считают, что акыны является частью...
Our scientists believe that the Akuns are part of a large spiritual, nomadic system that dates back to the first ritual mediators. From the ritual mediators, over time, Buksi, shamans, Akuns, Sal-Seris, and atop, the very quintessence of the steppe ritual mediator.
Основа ритуального посредника – жирау.
Арға бойлы қыз туған, батырда болып туған жұрт, кіндігімдай кескен жұрт, кір қоңымдай жуған жұрт, қарағай садақ будырып, қылшанымды қой толтырып, жанға да сақтау болған жұрт.
Жирау давал войску настрой на победу.
Jirao stood out. Jirao gave the army the mood to win. All night he could sing his songs, read dastans, and make his people come to victory. There lived a wonderful Jirao named Asan Kaigu, who is familiar to many Turkic peoples. This was a man who performed quiz, performed his own songs. He was an ideologist of the Kazakh Khanate, but his main idea was to search for Jiruik. There is a legend that Asan Kaigu, like Buddha, knew the sufferings of this world. He saw that everything died, that everything was perishable, that the matter of this world was woven from pain and suffering. So he dreamed of finding the Jiruik for his people, where animals and people would live in peace, where there would always be contentment, where there would never be war.
Всегда довольство, где никогда не будет войны.
It is very interesting as Buddhists seek out Shambhala, a mythical country that is actually located in the heart of every person. So is Jiruik, a very interesting legend.
Когда я работал в Кыргызстане,
When I was working in Kyrgyzstan, I was lucky to meet an amazing person, Imanak Saginbekov. He is a linguist scientist, besides the fact that he studied the texts of Russian classics and Chingiz Aitmatov. Using mathematical methods, he collected stories about his ancestors, Zhanek Batyr, who was a real person and lived only 150 years ago. I held in my hands his personal belongings. I got acquainted with the descendants of his 3 wives. I will tell you one fairy tale about Zhanek Batyr, but first I will put firewood in our fire because it is getting dark. Wolves howled in the mountains.
услышал как-то славный Джанек Батыр, что далеко в Нарынской земле появился силач по имени Кутай.
The glorious Zhanek Batyr once heard that a strong man named Kutayan appeared far in the Narin land. Zhanek decided to find Kutayan to measure his strength with him. No, not to kill, not to pour blood. Come on. Just to find out who is the strongest. No sooner said than done. Zhanek gathered faithful Jigits nukers. They mounted their horses and set off. The Batyrs were riding, and they arrived at a large mountain ale, located by a sonorous river. They held their horses. The Batyrs dismounted, entered the yurt, and there, in the twilight, white-bearded old elders, aksakals, were sitting.
Придержали коней, спешился Батыр, заходит в юрту, а там в полумраке сидят белобородые старики-аксакалы. «Ассаламу алейкум, аксакалы!» – поздоровался Джанек Батыр. «И тебе мир, славный Батыр!»
Assalamu alaikum, aksakals, said Zhanek Batyr. A peace to you, glorious Batyr Zhanek. The old people recognized the hero of the steppes and mountains. Where are you holding that road now? I heard that in the north of the Narin land, a strong man named Kutayan appeared. I want to find him, measure my strength. Not to kill, not to pour blood. Just find out who is the most worthy Batyr in the Kyrgyz steppes and mountains. A good deed conceived you, Zhanek. Good. The old man nodded. Drive in peace. May Allah help you.
Батыр, постой! Старый стал, забыл. Это за нашим аилом дорога на 2 разойдется. Одна короткая.
Zhanibek bowed to the old people, was about to leave the yurt, and then one elder shouted to him, "Hey, Batyr, wait, I has forgotten to tell you something. There will be a 2-way road behind our ale. The one is short, don't go there. The other is long, with 2 passes. Send your horse there." What should I be afraid of? Asked Janyek Batir.
Ни пешему, ни конному худа нет. Не гневи Аллаха.
Listen to the old man who has lived many winters in the world. Cannibal wolves, the size of a horse, settled on a short road near the old cemetery. No man or horse would pass. Do not anger Allah. Go around. Janyek bowed to the old man, left the yurt, and said to his comrades, "Well, nukers, the elders say that the road became impassable. The grass was overgrown. They say cannibal wolves the size of a horse settled there. Neither man nor horse will pass. What shall we do?"
Не трогают. Поедем в объезд. Верно, верно, Джанек, в объезд! Зашумели джигиты, сели на коней и поскакали дальше.
"You are our leader. You decide what to do." The Jigits answered. "I think this," says Janyek. "We didn't go hunting. We need to respect the old people. And wolves do not bother people in the ale. We'll go on a detour." "That's right, Janyek. Detour." The Jigits rustled. They mounted their horses and galloped. Finally, they reached a fork in the road. Janyek looks out from under the palm, explores the unfamiliar lands. Then he hears someone sing a strange song in the steppe. Janyek took a closer look and saw a young man coming, plain-looking, plump, bald. And how is he dressed? The chapan is patched, tattered boots, an empty bag dangles behind his back. But according to the customs of the Kyrgyz, the one who is on a horse greets first the one who is on foot, even if I am a Han and he is a beggar. "Assalamu alaikum, young man. Where are you going?" Janyek calls out the traveler. And he, in addition to being short, poor, bald, turned out to be a Buri stutter. And he speaks in such a voice. "Assalam, Batir. I'm coming from Isikul. There was jute. The sheep died. The children are hungry. I'm going to ask good people for help. You conceived a good deed, young man. As soon as I am in my own land, I will command to give a flock of sheep and a camel loaded with grain to your starving family. Rakmiat, Batir. Bless Allah." The young man bowed and, singing his song under his nose, went along the road leading straight to the abandoned cemetery. "Hey, Jigit, wait," Janyek calls to him. "The elders say there are cannibal wolves the size of a horse who have settled there. Look, we are wearing armor and weapons, but we're on a detour. Do not anger the Almighty. I will give a spare horse. You will come with us." He straightened the rope on his belly, turned around and said, "Shall we, Batirs, real men, be afraid of small dogs? I'll go there, it is faster." And he walked straight to the wolf den. Janyek turned to his friends and said, "Well, nukers, this young man is brave but reckless. I'm afraid trouble can happen to him. Batir's duty is to help those in need. We'll do this. We'll stay here at the fork. If we see or hear anything, we will rush to help." No sooner said than done. Batirs are waiting. Meanwhile, the red sun fell over the peaks of the Tian Shan mountains, and a huge yellow moon rose from the waters of Isikul, which itself looked like the eye of a wolf. And the silence was such that neither the bird would sing nor the reeds would move. Batirs are waiting, and suddenly the silence in the old cemetery was broken by a terrible wolf howl. Howl! The wolves howled, dust rose, as if there was an unprecedented battle. Batirs jumped into the saddles, gave the lashes to the horse, and rushed to the rescue of the reckless man.
Вскочили батыры в седла, дали плетей коням и помчались на выручку безумцу. Жадек взмыленного коня останавливает, смотрит в пыли. Между полуразрушенных мавзолеев и могильных плит, озаренный мертвенным лунным светом, лежит огромный волк. Размером и правда с доброго коня.
Janyek stops the sword horse and sees, in the dust between the dilapidated mausoleums and gravestones, illuminated by the dead moonlight, there is a huge wolf. Its size is truly of a horse, and there is a young man. And there is that young man under it. Janyek realized that he was late. Then he took a closer look, and the guy stirred. The Batir sees that not only is the boy alive, but is holding the mouth of the huge beast with his hands. But he cannot get out from under the carcass. And he says in his strange voice, "Batir, you are right. These dogs are big. They almost swallowed me." Janek pulled out the saber and killed the wolf. The other horsemen rushed along, tore the skin from the wolf. They threw the wolf's skin on the horse's croup and saw that the head of the beast and his front legs were lying on the grass. On the one side, the skin was stretching through the saddle, and the hind legs and tail were dragging along the ground on the other side. Only then, everyone understood what kind of beast the guy strangled with bare hands. He didn't have a knife with him. They sat on the grass, took out camping flask with kumus, and decided to celebrate the victory. They put the bowl around, and Janek says, "Young man, you are a great batir. How did you deal with such a beast?" He says, "It happened by chance. It pounced like a dog." "Well done," says Janek. And the guy replies, "Whom shall I thank in Allah's prayers that you saved my little life? This is not a secret, glorious young man." Janek answers, "My name is Janek from the Gelder clan of the Bugu tribe, and I'm going to Narin land. You know, they say a strong man named Kutayan settled there. I want to find him, measure my strength, not to kill, not to pour blood, just find out who is the strongest batir in the Kyrgyz steppes and mountains." "Well, batir, you don't have to go any further. I am Kutuyan. Who told you I'm a batir? You are a strong man, but I am a shepherd. The Akin invented everything." Janek hugged Kutayan tightly. Janek and Kutayan became true friends. When, 3 years later, a terrible war broke out between the Bugu and Saribagush tribes, Janek and Kutuyan fought back to back. Together, they accomplished many glorious feats. What a wonderful fairy tale. You know, I'm happy that I heard all this live. A book was released in Kyrgyz, where there is my translation into Russian, and then, separately, a Russian text about how the first book was written.
Было написано.
Есть у меня один любимый жирау.
My favorite Jirao is Shalkuz. I've only recently found out that he came from the West. Beside the fact that he was a Jirao, he was also a batir. I asked my friend, Arman Nurmukhambetov, who, incidentally, is a modern Jirao, to translate my favorite Shalkuz poem for me. I will read this poem. It's the steppe winds that make poplars rustle their leaves. It's the thickness of their trunks that make them be proud of themselves. It's the patience of the people that causes the audacity of insolent authority. It's the number of livestock of impudent vice that causes rage. It's the accrued fat that causes antelope speed. It's the accrued fat that causes antelope speed. One can pass the trail thanks to the width of gorges. A batir gets his glory thanks to a good blade. But there is only one secret since the creation of the world. Attack the enemy boldly, even though he is a no-gay. Only Tingri knows how you'll meet your death. This is the late Middle Ages. He was born somewhere in the 15th century and died in the 16th.
Очень интересно. И очень хороший перевод.
I will tell you one Kyrgyz fairy tale recorded right behind those mountains in Kyrgyzstan. It's no secret that neighboring nations make fun of each other. Previously, cattle were stolen from each other, and the Batirs boasted, both Kazakh and Kyrgyz, what daredevils they were. So the tale is called Seven Friends, Seven Heroes.
7 богатырей. Давным-давно жили в киргизских горах 7 друзей, 7 богатырей.
A long time ago, in the Kyrgyz mountains, there lived 7 friends, 7 heroes. Balbay Batir, Janek Batir, Urdaulet Batir, Namaz Batir, Omur Batir, and Sabatir. Balbay Batir was the eldest of all and their mentor. Once the Balbay Batir gathered his friends and said, "For a long time, Batirs, we did not go on the raids. For a long time, we did not bring herds. I heard that a rich, glorious man lives in the Kazakh steppes. His name is Shoru Khan. I'd like to measure my strength with him, and at the same time steal herds. The Batirs mounted their horses and went through the mountains to the Kazakh steppe. Whether long or short ride, the forest parted and the boundless steppe of Kazakhstan opened. The Batirs got off their horses. They see it is evening, the sun sets, in yurt hearth flare up. Balbai says, well, Batirs, a long way to go. We must get a fat lamb out in those villages, and we'll prepare meat for the future as well as eat. Who will go? Urdauliet stood up and said, I will go, Balbai. Who will help Urdauliet? Well, I'm the youngest of all. I'll go, said Zhanyak Batir. Together, they went to the nearest aul. Zhanyak says, let me hold the horses, and you climb the fence and lead the sheep way. No sooner said than done. Urdauliet has jumped over the fence. It got dark. He walks. He touches the sheep in the dark to choose the fattest one. Then his boot stumbles upon something soft. He looks, raises it, and this is a child. Urdauliet looks at him, and the child says, hey, Bake, why do you want to pick up our sheep? Urdauliet says, boy, come on. The man has come for other matters. He placed the child on the floor. Again, he chooses a sheep. The baby grabbed his boot again. Man, don't take our sheep. Oh, you are my little Batir. Urdauliet wiped a tear, kissed him, and returned to Zhanyak with nothing. Where's the fat ram, Urdauliet? Asked Zhanyak. You know, Zhanyak, the rams are so thin in this aul. Let's go to another and look for them. Okay, let's go to another aul. Zhanyak realized that something was wrong. He said, you know what, Urdauliet? Wait a minute, with the horses. I will bring a sheep, otherwise we won't manage until the morning. He jumped over the fence, and since he was a healthy Batir, he brought 2 fat rams. They brought them to the camp and grilled. Fool, the lie, and look at the stars that have flared up in the sky. And Balbai says, when I was a boy, my grandfather taught me, before the trip, look at the star named Kopto Zholduz. If it is on your left, there will be a successful raid. On the right, be careful. Looking into your eyes, better stay at home. Also, my grandfather said, remember, Balbai, it all depends on how you yourself look at the star Kopto Zholduz. I looked at it today, and I think the raid will be successful, said Balbai. At dawn, they went to the Kazakh steppe and stole 500 horses from Shuruk Khan. After, they galloped back to Kyrgyzstan. They were riding one day, another, the horses began to get tired. Batir can spend several days in the saddle, but the horse will fall and will not rise. They found a place where the rock was high to give horses a rest. In order not to become the prey of the enemies, they decided to take turns on duty. One is on the rock and another is at the foot. So that no one falls asleep, they shout out. Omur is on duty, and Namaz shouts, hey, Omur, is everything calm? Calm, Namaz, everything is fine. The turn of Zhanyak and Urdauliet. Hey, Zhanyak, is everything calm? Fine, Urdauliet, one rider is just riding on the horizon. Balbai opens his eyes and says, what kind of horseman? He is following our trail. Well, Batirs, saddle your horses, arm yourself. It's not without reason. While they were getting ready, a Kazakh man rode out onto the hill on a luxurious horse with a silver bridle and shouted, hey, glorious Kyrgyz warriors, have the best warriors of Kyrgyzstan come to the Kazakh steppe for some horses? I cannot believe this. Let me introduce myself. I am Shuruk Khan, the head of the Kazakh steppe, the heir to Ablai Khan. And since horses are obviously your random prey, you know the custom of Sogat, the Kyrgyz men. You must give random loot to the first comer. Balbai sniffed with anger, realized that the Kazakh caught them. It is impossible not to observe the custom. Shuruk Khan laughs and says, don't worry, Balbai Batir, I've heard a lot about you. I have long wanted to measure strength with you, so we will have a single combat. If you defeat me, you will take the horses. Well, if I prevail, I will return my herds.
Глава казахской степи, наследника Аблай-хана. А поскольку лошади явно ваша случайная добыча, вы знаете обычай Саугат, кыргызы. Случайную добычу вы должны отдать первому встречному. Балбай засопел от гнева, понимая, что поймал их казах. Не соблюсти обычай нельзя.
Balbai and his friends sat in a circle. Balbai said, so the Kazakh man challenges me to the battle, but let him fight with one of you, one of my students. Can you go, Urdauliet? I am ready. Of course you are not. Zhanyak? I'll beat him. Neither you. Omur? Yes, yes. No. Balbai asked all his friends and said, no, Batirs, I have to fight this person myself. Look, what a brave man. He came out 1 for 7. Shuruk Khan and Balbai Batir sat on their horses, parted, took the spears with blunt ends forward, and rushed against each other. As Shuruk struck Balbai with the spear, he almost flew off his horse, clinging to its tail. But Shuruk Khan plays with the spear and laughs. Is it really you, Balbai Batir, the most famous of the Kyrgyz Batirs? From a light click, you almost fell to the ground. Balbai darkened like a thundercloud, sniffed, drove his horse with a cry. Balbai, Balbai, hit and knocked Shuruk Khan out of the saddle. He approaches the defeated enemy. Shuruk Khan rubs his chest and says, "Now I see that the glorious Balbai Batir is standing in front of me. For many years I dreamed of meeting with you in a duel."
Тут Балбай потемнел, как туча грозовая. Засопел, погнал своего коня с криком «Балбай! Балбай!», как ударил и выбил Шурука из седла. Подлетает к поверженному противнику, Shuruk грудь потирает и говорит:
Even though you defeated me today, this day will be a holiday for me, because I will remember such a meeting forever. Balbai hears it, rides up to his friends and says, "Well, nukers, I tell you, not only is this person very brave, but also very noble. Rarely, people like the Kazakh Shuruk Khan are born under the eternal sky. To meet such a person is a great success. I'm embarrassed that we stole 500 horses from him. I suggest returning the horses to him back. What do you think, Batirs? We went on a raid together. Will any of you get a pain in this liver from greed? No, come on, Balbai. He is a glorious Kazakh man." The Kyrgyz shouted and returned all the horses to him. After that, they drank kumus and swore eternal friendship.
Батыры, вместе на бег ходили. Ни у кого от жадности печень не заболит? Да нет, что ты, Балбай! Славный казах! Закричали киргизы и вернули тому всех лошадей. После этого распили кумыс и поклялись в вечной дружбе. Я познакомился со стариком Монасчи в Кыргызстане.
I met an old monaschi in Kyrgyzstan when my mentor, Imanak Ata, brought me to a very old man. The latter met us unfriendly. He grumbled. Imanak removed his 3-stringed komus from the wall and said, "Is something up in your komus mistuned?" He says, "How mistuned? We'll adjust it now." He took it, touched the strings and changed. He got 30 years younger. I do not know the Kyrgyz language to translate manas, but it was a performance that lasted 2 hours. He jumped up, brandishing an imaginary spear, hitting enemies. It was an extravaganza. I listened with my mouth open. Time flew by like an instant, and then the old man was blown away. He became such a quiet, kind old man, as if he has lost his temper. And when we got into a conversation, I asked, "Ata, how did you become monaschi?" He said that it was a long time ago. I was a Komsomol member, grazing sheep from my uncle. And once, when I was on Jailao, I had a wonderful dream, as if I were watching a movie. The Batirs were galloping. There was music and poetry. A month passed. I was tired of the movie already. I did not want to touch it anymore. But every night it came. I began to go to night shifts. I thought, I won't sleep. It will end. But it didn't. I got sick completely. I took a day off, went down to the valley, went to the elders. "What's wrong with me?" And then the old people began to hug me. They say, "Oh, Allah noted our family. A monaschi was born. That's all. I did not study at a technical school anymore. I was sent to study to the visiting akun. He taught me voice, taught me how to use the instrument. So I became monaschi." I asked the old man, "How did you learn manas, which is 500,000 poetic stanzas?" He says, "You did not understand. I never learned manas by heart. It comes to me. I see, I hear it. I just transmit manas." I was amazed because the shaman storytellers told me the same thing in Altai, in Tuva, in the far north. They do not learn epics, which are non-stop sung for 7 days. They're coming to them. My consciousness of a scientist was completely destroyed.
Поются 7 дней, они приходят. Мое сознание ученого было разрушено до основания.
Ошол күндө Манаска 60 сана миңмишкүл дул бежинден көрүнүп, Алмамбет менен Эрсыргак канча күнгө толду деп, андан кабар болгон жок, кандай күн болду деп кыраган турган Манас.
Я присутствовала на соревновании сказители.
I attended the Epic Storytellers competition. It was very interesting to watch them. True, after a few moments of performance, you plunge into this world and see pictures. Even if you do not understand the language, you feel what is being described. No, because you not only hear and see, you feel with all your being that these narrators transmit the sounds of animals, horses, birds.
Лошади, птиц,
Горловым пением.
горловым пением, каким-то свистом.
Rote singing, some kind of whistling, the stomp of their heels, and a feeling of complete presence. This is incredible. The walls of the hall disappear. You find yourself in the steppe or in the taiga. For many centuries, the wheels of nomad carts have rolled across the boundless steppe. They roll, they squeak under the eternally blue sky. Along with them, the wheel of history turns. But with each turnover, it delivers something new into the world.
Оно приносит в мир все новое, новое и новое.